In the year 2250, Earth had become a hub for various alien species who sought help, trade, and knowledge. Earth was known across the galaxy as a place of resilience and unmatched tenacity. The humans were often called the Deathworlders due to their ability to adapt and survive in an environment filled with dangers, both natural and man-made. One day, a transmission came through the galactic waves from a small planet named Calypsis 9 in a distant star system. The message was hurried and filled with desperation. "We need help. Our crops are failing, and the Sithra tribe is attacking our settlements." The message echoed with panic, and it reached a group of Earth ambassadors who were tasked with responding to calls for assistance from different worlds. Among the ambassadors were three key figures: Asha, a brilliant botanist; Marcus, a skilled diplomat known for resolving conflicts; and Zane, a former soldier with experience in combat. They gathered in the briefing room of their ship, the Horizon, preparing for a journey to Calypsis 9. As they traveled through space, Asha examined the data they had on Calypsis 9. The planet is mostly covered in harsh rocky terrains and thick jungles. "It should be an easy place for crops to fail," she mused, her mind racing. "We need to find out what's causing the crop failure. It could be a disease or perhaps something in the soil." Marcus nodded thoughtfully. "If we can help them fix the crop issue, it may provide a lasting solution beyond just fighting off the Sithra. We should focus on that first." Zane, with a far-off look, interjected, "While we're doing that, we need to prepare for the Sithra. They might see us as a threat or come after us too." The trio reached Calypsis 9 in just a few days. When they landed, they were greeted by a group of fearful yet hopeful aliens. The inhabitants were small, with large eyes and slender bodies. They introduced themselves as the Calypians. The leader, a tall figure named Eldrin, explained the situation further. "Our crops are failing due to a strange blight that came out of nowhere. And the Sithra are taking advantage of our weakness to attack our homes." Asha took charge of the situation. "Can you show us the fields?" she asked. Eldrin led them through winding paths lined with tall, vibrant trees. When they reached the fields, Asha's heart dropped. The once green plants were wilted and brown, with an odd film covering the soil. As Asha kneels to examine the dirt, Marcus struck up a conversation with Eldrin. "What can you tell us about the Sithra? What do they want?" "Land," Eldrin replied sharply. "They consider this territory theirs by birthright, despite our peaceful existence here. The blight has given them the opportunity to strike." Zane, scanning the area for any signs of danger, leaned closer. "We may need to come up with a plan for defense once you show us how the crops fail." Days turned into nights as Asha worked tirelessly in the fields. She took samples of the soil and studied the plants, while also consulting with Eldrin and the other Calypian scientists. Zane and Marcus worked to gather defenses and build alliances among the Calypians. One night, under the shimmering stars, Asha had a breakthrough. She found that the blight was caused by a fungus from a nearby forest, carried by the wind. "We can stop it. We need to treat the soil," she announced, excitement bubbling in her voice. Marcus smiled. "Great work, Asha. Let's organize the Calypian farmers to assist in the treatment and replanting. They'll need deep support and encouragement." Zane grinned, knowing the urgency was growing. "While Asha and Marcus work on recovery, I will head out to scout the Sithra territory and gather intelligence. We need to prepare for their next move." Over the next few days, Asha and Marcus coordinated the treatment of the fields. They spread a mixture of nutrients and antifungal agents through the soil. Slowly, life began to return to the crops, showing signs of vibrant green. However, the specter of the Sithra still loomed large. Meanwhile, Zane had conducted reconnaissance and returned with troubling news. "The Sithra are preparing for a large-scale attack, perhaps tomorrow night. They believe we are weak," he reported. "Then we must prepare," Marcus declared. "We'll set up defenses around the village and prepare the inhabitants for combat." As the sun set, the Calypians gathered together. Asha, Marcus, and Zane rallied them with words of hope and courage. "We are here to help," Asha announced. "We may face a difficult challenge, but together we are strong." Just as the stars began to twinkle in the night sky, the first sounds of the Sithra attack echoed through the trees. The Sithra, big and armored, charged from the shadows. The Callippians took their positions, armed with whatever they could find. Zane led the defense, standing proud beside Marcus. Asha stayed with the farmers, encouraging them to finish securing the crops while defending their homes. The clash was chaotic, shouts and battle cries filled the night. With sharp strategy and fierce determination, the Callippians fought back. Zane used his combat experience to lead the charge, while Marcus directed the defenses with calm authority. Asha remained in the fields, shouting words of encouragement to those planting and securing the crops. In the end, the Callippians, fueled by their newfound partnership with the Earth Warriors, managed to fend off the initial Sithra onslaught. Exhausted but victorious, they celebrated their strength together. In the following days, the recovered crops flourished. Asha had transformed the fields into beds of green. The villagers thrived, and the Sithra retreated, realizing that they had underestimated the resolve of their neighbors. As the ambassadors prepared to depart, Asha felt a surge of joy. "We did it together. The crops will bear fruit, and you will not only survive but flourish." Eldrin smiled brightly. "We will never forget what you have done for us. We are grateful to Deathworlders who came to help." As the horizon lifted off the ground, Asha, Marcus, and Zane looked back at Calypsis, 9. Together, they had faced a looming threat and turned despair into hope. Earth had sent a cry for help, and they had answered it, not just as saviors, but as friends. Genre: Sci-Fi. Characters: Jax, a young, optimistic Xylosian engineer. Commander Zara, the stern and experienced leader of the Earth Response Team. Grok, a hulking, but gentle, Cthar warrior. Dr. Eris, a Xylosian scientist, aged and wise. The distress signal pulsed across the galactic network, a desperate plea from the Xylosian colony on the planet Alicia. A rogue comet, riddled with a previously unknown and highly aggressive life form, had impacted the planet. The Xylosians, a peaceful race of engineers and artists, were ill-equipped to handle such a threat. The call went out to the Galactic Alliance, a loose confederation of species dedicated to mutual aid and defense. The Alliance, bogged down in bureaucratic red tape and political squabbles, debated the appropriate response. Should they send a diplomatic envoy? A peacekeeping force? By the time a decision was finally reached, Alicia had fallen silent. But one member of the Alliance didn't wait for permission. Earth. Commander Zara stood on the bridge of the Dauntless, her gaze fixed on the holographic projection of Alicia. The planet was a sickly green, marred by swirling crimson storms. Reports from the initial probe were grim. The alien lifeforms, dubbed chrysalids by the science team, were rapidly multiplying, consuming everything in their path. Status report, Zara barked, her voice sharp and efficient. Chrysalid biomass increasing exponentially, Commander, Lieutenant Chen replied, his fingers flying across the console. Xylosian cities are overrun. No signs of organized resistance. Zara clenched her jaw. The Alliance would have sent a fleet of diplomats to negotiate with an unnegotiable enemy. Earth didn't have that luxury. "Prepare drop pods," she ordered. "We're going in." Jax, a young Xylosian engineer, huddled in the ruins of what was once his workshop. The chrysalids scuttled through the streets, their chitinous bodies clicking and hissing. They were relentless, driven by a primal hunger that knew no bounds. He had sent the distress signal, his heart pounding with hope. He had expected the Galactic Alliance, with their sleek warships and advanced technology, to arrive and save them. Instead, nothing. Then, the sky cracked open. Not with the graceful descent of Alliance cruisers, but with the fiery re-entry of Earth drop pods. They slammed into the chrysalid-infested city, scattering debris and alien bodies. From the wreckage emerged figures unlike anything Jax had ever seen. They were humans, clad in heavy armor, wielding weapons that spat fire and death. They moved with a speed and ferocity that belied their bulky appearance. They were terrifying. Zara led the charge, her pulse rifle ripping through the chrysalids. Her team, a motley crew of soldiers, scientists, and even a Cthar warrior named Grok, followed close behind. Grok, despite his massive size and intimidating tusks, possessed a surprising gentleness. He carried a heavy plasma cannon, which he used with brutal efficiency to carve a path through the alien horde. "Clear!" Zara shouted, her voice echoing through the ruined streets. "Secure the perimeter!" Jax watched in stunned silence as the Earth team systematically purged the area of chrysalids. They were ruthless, efficient, and utterly fearless. He had called for help, and these Deathworlders had answered. Dr. Eris, an elderly Xylosian scientist, emerged from the shadows, his eyes wide with disbelief. They are winning. For now, Jax replied, his voice laced with cautious optimism. But what are they? They're not like any species I've ever seen. Zara approached them, her face grim. We are humans, she said, her voice surprisingly gentle. We received your signal. We're here to help. But why? Dr. Eris asked, his voice trembling. The Alliance, they deemed Alicia too risky to save. Zara's eyes hardened. The Alliance can debate the merits of intervention while entire civilizations fall. We act. The following days were a brutal ballet of destruction and salvation. The Earth team fought tooth and nail, pushing back the chrysalids inch by inch. They established a perimeter around the main Xylosian city, providing refuge for the survivors. Jax, eager to contribute, volunteered his engineering skills to the Earth team. He helped them modify their weapons and adapt their technology to the unique challenges of Alicia. He learned to respect their unwavering determination, their willingness to sacrifice everything for a species they barely knew. Grok, the Kthar warrior, became an unlikely friend. Despite the language barrier, they communicated through gestures and shared experiences. Jax learned that Grok, beneath his fearsome exterior, was a deeply compassionate being. He fought to protect the Xylosians not out of duty, but out of a genuine desire to help. But the chrysalids were relentless. They adapted to the Earth team's tactics, evolving new defenses and attack strategies. The situation grew increasingly desperate. Zara knew they couldn't win a war of attrition. They needed to strike at the heart of the chrysalid infestation, to destroy their source. The probe data pointed to a massive chrysalid hive located deep within a volcanic crater. We're going in, Zara announced to her team. One final push. We hit the hive, we kill the chrysalid queen, we end this. The mission was suicidal. But they were Deathworlders. Suicide missions were in their blood. Jax, despite his lack of combat experience, insisted on joining them. He knew the terrain better than anyone, and he was determined to repay the debt he owed to the humans. They descended into the volcanic crater, a team of humans, a Kthar, and a Xylosian, venturing into the heart of the chrysalid hive. The air was thick with the stench of decay and the skittering of alien bodies. The final battle was a maelstrom of fire and death. The Earth team fought with the ferocity of cornered wolves, their weapons tearing through the chrysalids. Grok roared challenges as he crushed alien bodies beneath his massive boots. Jax, armed with a modified plasma rifle, fought alongside them, his initial fear replaced by a steely determination. He was no longer just an engineer. He was a survivor. Zara led the way, her eyes fixed on the pulsating mass at the center of the hive, the chrysalid queen. She fired a volley of grenades, obliterating the queen and sending a shockwave through the entire hive. The chrysalids, deprived of their leader, began to collapse. The tide had turned. They emerged from the crater, battered and bruised, but victorious. Alicia was saved. As the Earthships prepared to leave, Jack stood on the landing platform, watching them depart. He looked at Zara, her face etched with weariness, but her eyes filled with a quiet satisfaction. "Thank you," he said, his voice choked with emotion. "You saved us." Zara smiled, a rare and precious sight. "We do what we can," she said. "Just remember, the next time you send a cry for help, be careful who answers." The Earthships ascended into the sky, leaving behind a grateful but forever changed Xylosian colony. They had sent a cry for help, and the Deathworlders of Earth had come instead. And Alicia was never the same again. In a distant galaxy, on a planet called Tysoria, a disaster loomed. The Tysorians were a peaceful and gentle race, known for their stunning gardens and lush landscapes. However, their peaceful world was about to face an unimaginable threat. A monstrous horde of invaders, brutal and relentless, landed on Tysoria with only one goal: conquest. The Tysorians knew they could not defend themselves. Desperation took over, and they sent out a cry for help, broadcasting their plea across the universe. Back on Earth, in a small town called Maplewood, there lived a teenager named Jake. With messy brown hair and an adventurous spirit, Jake often imagined fantastic worlds far beyond his own. He enjoyed books about heroes and battles. One peaceful evening, as he was finishing up his homework, a strange light appeared in the sky. It was like a shooting star but larger and brighter. To his surprise, the light crashed in the nearby forest. Curiosity tugged at him. Jake grabbed his jacket and rushed outside. As he approached the site, he saw a metallic spacecraft shining under the moonlight. The door to the ship opened slowly, and a figure stepped out. It was a towering being, taller than any human, with gray skin and large, expressive eyes. Jake held his breath, unsure if he should run or stay. "Greetings, Earthling," the creature said in a booming voice. "I am Zorak, an ambassador from the planet Draker. We received your signal for help." Jake felt his heart race. This was not a normal day. "Help? I didn't send any signal," he exclaimed. "No," Zorak replied, "but a cry for help was sent from another planet, Tysoria. We assumed Earth, being a savvy species with resilient warriors, would respond." "I think you're mistaken," Jake said, scratching his head in confusion. "I'm just a kid." Zorak studied Jake and continued, "But you are human. Humans are known as Deathworlders. Your species is believed to possess incredible strength and courage." Jake felt an unexpected pride. "I mean, yes, humans can be tough." Zorak held up his hand. "Then come with me. We must gather warriors to aid Tysoria before it falls." With a rush of excitement and fear, Jake agreed. The next day, Zorak took Jake aboard the ship and flew back to the planet Draker. Jake stared in awe at the swirling stars and glowing planets outside the window. On Draker, they met a small group of humans chosen to join their mission. There was Maya, a skilled fighter with fiery red hair and a sharp wit. Then there was Leo, a tech genius who could make anything work with the push of a button. Lastly, there was Sam, a quiet but fierce individual with an incredible ability to motivate others. Together, they discussed battling the invading creatures on Tysoria. They had only a few days to train and prepare a strategy. Maya took charge of combat training, showing the team how to harness their strength. Leo built gadgets, innovative tools designed to give them an edge. Jake, still unsure about his role, focused on motivating the group, reminding them that they had the heart to fight back. The day of departure came quickly. As they boarded Zorak's ship, Jake felt butterflies in his stomach. Looking at his friends, he realized they were all in this together. The ship zoomed through the galaxy, and soon they arrived at Tysoria. What greeted them was sheer destruction. Buildings lay in ruins, and the once beautiful gardens were now trampled. The team wasted no time. Zorak devised a plan for them to take down the invaders stealthily. They approached the enemy camp under the cover of night. Armed with their gadgets and skills, they moved carefully, taking out guard after guard. Jake felt his heart race. This was what he had dreamed of, being a hero. Suddenly, an alarm went off, shattering the quiet night. A large brutish creature with 6 eyes and thick armor appeared, roaring at them. Its powerful limbs radiated menace. In that moment, Maya stepped forward, her determination shining. "We have to fight," she yelled. With a shout, they charged the creature. Jake followed Leo, who quickly activated one of his gadgets. A brilliant light blinded the creature momentarily. Maya took this chance, jumping high in the air and landing a strong kick right on the beast's head. It staggered back, and Jake, feeling brave, threw a stone that landed hard against the creature's arm. It was sheer chaos. The other invaders noticed the commotion and began rushing toward their position. But the team didn't back down. They fought fiercely, using teamwork and their newfound skills. Leo continued to create distractions with his gadgets, while Maya and Sam battled shoulder to shoulder. Jake, inspired by his friends, fought valiantly despite his fears. He ducked and dodged, finding his rhythm among the chaos. Realizing they were outmatched in numbers, they retreated to a position near the Tysorean palace. It was there they could make a final stand. As they defended themselves, the Tysorians emerged, witnessing the brave bunch of humans fighting for their freedom. Seeing this gave the Tysorians hope. They joined the fight, using their natural abilities to create barriers and defend their land. The tide turned as the two forces combined their strengths. The Tysorians' agility and the humans' ferocity became a fierce force. Together, they pushed back against the invaders, reclaiming the planet step by step. Finally, after what felt like hours, the remaining invaders fled, overwhelmed by the teamwork of Tysorians and humans. Cheers erupted across the battlefield, echoing the victory. Jake felt a surge of pride and joy wash over him. He was part of something significant. As the excitement settled, Zorak approached Jake, giving him a deep nod. "You have proven that the spirit of humanity shines strong, even in the darkest times." Standing beside his friends, Jake realized that sometimes heroes come in unexpected forms, and he was proud to be one of them.